Hello guys and welcome back to the road to 1600. Today I'm starting off at 775 and this game had a little bit of everything. I went back to the London system for my opening, but I had to make a couple adjustments after I saw some pretty different moves from my opponent. The ending pretty much came down to one blunder for my opponent and a pretty fun pawn race. But if this is your first time finding the channel, please feel free to subscribe as we continue to grow, and with that, let's jump in. Alright, let's jump into this game review. I'm picking up this game right off the heels of my previous game, so I'm at 775 right now. I am playing as white for this game. I was a little disappointed I was playing as black in my previous game, but we'll go ahead and jump right in. So, I've been trying to stick to a system, I've been trying to practice, and the system that I have chosen is the London system. Building up a strong pyramid, building up some active pieces in the center of the board, and today will be no different. Going with the London system, and from right off the bat, I don't understand this move so much. I haven't seen this, and I'm not really sure what the play is, but I'm just going to go ahead and develop normally, get some pieces inside my pyramid, get it built up, and not worry too much. Like, I know his dark squared bishop is now active and his queen could come out, but I don't want to stop my development as a result. So his knight comes in, takes my knight, so I just slide my queen up to kind of get my queen into the game anyway. So I wouldn't say that this is not a normal part of my development. So he runs two pieces right into my triangle, and now I see that, yes, his knight is defending that e5 square, but I know that that e5 square and controlling it and getting this knight as an outpost is kind of the main principle of the London system. So I want to make sure I plant my knight there early, but I also have my eye on that f pawn for black. You know, if he pushes up, I need to figure out what I want to do. I don't know if I made the right move in this situation, but yeah, we'll just see. We'll see how it goes. So his queen comes out. I think he was trying to look for a check on me, which is kind of nice. If he moved his queen over to b4, I was just going to develop normally anyway. So this kind of kills two birds with one stone, moving that pawn up. And I see right now that he hasn't moved his white rook there. So I kind of got my eye on that. And so I don't know if leaving the center was necessarily the right move. Maybe I should have fallen back a little bit, regrouped, but I saw that I could potentially get a little fork there if I was able to get my queen over here. So I got my eye on that c6, and then, kind of as I hoped, I was able to get it. So he slides his king over, and I take the free rook. So feeling pretty good. I'm up a piece. I know that if I get threatened, I fall back with my bishop, and then I can activate my my H rook there. So we do a couple trades in the center of the board. It opens up a little bit on the left side with a lot of the pawn moves. I want to get him into check somehow because I had him in a pretty good spot there, but he slides down and gets me into check first. So we'll see here in a second, but this queen does a lot of damage to me. A lot of damage. And with his pawn pushing up, he's got some protected squares there in the center. And a lot of my pieces aren't doing much. So there's check number one. We slide over to dodge it. Check number two. Bang. Oh, exactly what I just did to him, he just did to me. And it's going to actually be way worse for me. So I'm up a piece of material right now. I slide up, and now I'm down a piece of material. Oh, that sucks. I was up, I was winning, I was feeling good, and now I'm just left with a queen and a bishop. So I'm going to have to figure out how to survive with just these two pieces while being down a piece of material. You know, I understand that my g2 pawn is vulnerable right now, but he can't really do a whole much after that. And if he tries to put me into check with where his queen is now, I can just take with my king. So I was okay leaving the queen there a little bit, and I have my bishop kind of staring at his back rank a little bit too once my queen moves. which will come into play here in a second. So I'm just trying to get into check right now. Let's check him, and then we'll figure out what to do after. But right now his bishop is unattended, so I got my eyes on that bishop. So he comes over, takes that unattended pawn on g2. I was okay with that. If he takes my bishop, I take him back. If he takes any of the pawns, I take him back as well. So he can kind of move into that space. And if he moves into f3, I'm just going to dance to like d2 or d1, or we're just going to go around the rosy here. So I was okay with that, but that means he left his bishop hanging. And so I'm going to take the free bishop, and now we're kind of even. You know, I got one more pawn, and I got a bishop. So, you know, I make mistakes, he makes mistakes, and then he makes another one. And that, sir, is going to cost you your rook. So that was a big one for him, and I don't know what he was thinking at that point in time, but that was a pretty big mistake. And I think he was a little bit mad because then he starts just chasing my king. To be fair, I would do the same thing. You know, vacuum up some of the pawns. Again, I would do the same thing. But we go around and around the rosy here a little bit. I'm just going to let this play because there has to be like 10 checks in a row. And I do the same thing. I got a bishop, and he's kind of in a hole right now with his two pawns surrounding him. So let's just get some pieces involved. Let's start a little bit of an attack. Let's do some checks. I understand my bishop is protected by my queen, so I can move up there. Again, another check. We dance around the pawn some more. I keep telling myself, I'm like, all right, the second he doesn't have me in check, I'm going to put him in check, and then we'll go from there. I don't know what exactly the plan is, but I was just in check constantly. He was in check constantly, and that's kind of how this endgame was, except I have my bishop, thankfully. And then that d4 pawn that I have is going to come in clutch. I was really hoping to try to get onto his h8 spot and try to do exactly what he did to me, was put him in check, and then when he moves away, I go in and I take his queen. That wasn't able to happen, but that's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to do that because I was mad that he did it to me. So we continue to dance a couple more times, and eventually we just kind of figure out we got to make some moves. And I got some space here. You know, I got his king in a bad spot. And I know that if I had moved my king there to e4, I would have lost my queen. The exact same thing would have happened before. So, learn my lesson from when I lost both my rooks, that if you want to take my queen, it's going to cost you your queen. And I figured I have a bishop. My bishop is defending the g1 space. I can move my king up to sweep up his other pawn, and I got one pawn left. It's the pawn that kind of saved me from trouble there. So if he moves down to promote his pawn, I think he's probably on the wrong side of his pawn, and I was able to win the race because he was moving two pieces down south to my one. So he moves his king down to escort, and I slide over for mate. So I probably should have lost this game because of that just one mistake with the rooks on the back rank. His protected queen, he did a great job with that, and I should have lost. But I was able to come out with the win, feeling pretty good. So we survive another day. I think over my last like 10 games, I'm like 5-5, or I think it's 7-7 over the last 14. So we're breaking even right now. And I think if I can cut out, you know, the huge catastrophic mistakes like what happened today when I lost both of my rooks, I think I can start trying to win some of these games a little bit more frequently. But regardless, if you've made it this far in the video, I appreciate it. Would love a subscription as we continue to grow, as usual, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.